access point. It's also questionable. I believe that area of the lake is closed during the summer season to clamming because of the E. coli levels.
Okay.
So I don't think it's worth pursuing, but again, I'm just one guy.
Okay.
Okay, as we move on to East Lake Drive,
Okay.
access number 1.
Okay, so that access is diagonal.
No, we talked about it only because he just mentioned the E. coli levels exposed in the summer, whatever. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So South Lake Drive, as we know, has become a real popular place for weekenders, and it's overflow capacity, so we're not recommending any change on South Lake Drive.
I do have, I'm just going to, I do want to make sure, is that open for swimming in the summertime?
Yes.
I just want to review that. I want to make sure that the water is tested properly. Because if they have some clamming restrictions because of E. coli, I just want to make sure it's safe for the swimmers as well. And I keep bringing that up. I just want to make sure we check that area out. There's a big problem. There continues to be a problem because we're not dredging that harbor properly, and there's no water flow that is appropriate for quality in Lake Montauk. And it's going to even get more severe as that harbor now is choking, literally. In the last week, 3 boats have gone up on getting out of that harbor, and 1 boat was kept outside the harbor for 12 hours waiting to time the tide right. I wrote to Schumer the other day on it, but we got to worry about that. It's not only, when we talk about dredging Lake Montauk Channel, it's not just for the commercial fishermen. It's also for the overall water quality of the lake. Yes, sir.
Okay, so on East Lake Drive, we start with what we've marked as access 1. It's diagonally west of Paradise Lane. I don't know if you know Paradise Lane. It's a little dirt road that runs east. It's a highly desirable access point, currently open and used by the local residents who have maintained the path there. But when we visited it, we were surprised to see buoys out there exerting ownership of the bottomland. So we're not 100% sure who owns that bottomland, or if some homeowner is incorrectly identifying it as their property. I don't know.
So access 1, although it says the town of East Hampton on the bottomland,
Yes. There are buoys that...
what you're saying is you're not sure whether the buoys should be there or not. There's not a question of ownership at the bottomland. Or is it?
Yeah. We were confused by the buoys, so
Gotcha.
again...
It says
town.
Waterland is town of East Hampton.
Right. Jay was being kind.
Can you actually go through these access points, like 1 through 9? Can you tell us which are open and which are not open?
Sure.
As far as
Two that are open.
accessible. I mean,
Right. So Paradise Lane is an example of one that is open and accessible.
This is one of the 2 open ones?
Yeah.
open,
What is
it's
The other
open,
one
it's
is the next-
accessible, but it's got buoys out there that you're not sure of.
Right. Right. And then right. So that should be cleared up again and identified on the. Just so you know, there's no viable parking for that access point.
How wide is that access?
The access currently, the brush that's cleared is. I don't know.
Okay.
I know it's quite wide.
Would you recommend parking?
No. It just, the highway department would have to look at it, but I don't see how parking is possible there.
You can read this note.
Nitrate, the next one, access number 2, is where the new nitrate pond was put in, which is extremely desirable access. Very great.
And that, if I'm not mistaken, that is cleared all the way down now, right?
Yes.
It's
Now,
nicely fenced and cleared.
Yeah, one thing about that fence, we were there. We were there. It's beautiful. First off,
It's a beautiful fence, however.
People are starting to use it, which is great. The bad thing is that when they placed the post and rail fence, they didn't allow for the fact that multiple cars might want to use the location at the same time. So only one car can pull down. If they move that post and rail a little bit southward, maybe 6 feet or so, then cars could navigate.
Without worrying whether somebody would drive into that pond. See, that's the problem.
Understood.
You want at least enough breath there to say, if I'm really, really stupid, I
Right.
still won't go into the pond.
Right.
So,
But it's a magnificent little spot, and
I think it came out well. I mean, when it was put in, there were a lot of people on East Lake Drive that were at least somewhat contentious about putting it in.
I'm aware of those.
Okay, we move on.
Access number 3 is a narrow swath of land that approximately 25, 30 feet. It's flat, but currently overgrown, sits between 2 private residences. But it looks like there's clear access to the lake. Would be suitable for something like a kayak entrance or paddleboard entrance. And to us, it seemed like it would make sense to open up a trail. There is a possibility for parking on the east side of East Lake Drive for that, but I wouldn't recommend creating some kind of parking lot.
Do you know, that's the one where it looks like a flag lot? Where you have the underwater land? Is that, what's his number there?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
access 3.
Yeah, I see it, I see it.
Right here?
I believe there's a telephone pole on the
Gotcha.
Can you say there's parking where?
There is a shoulder where you can pull off on the east side of East Lake Drive. I think that's the shoulder. Unlike the Paradise Lane location where there's drones on.
Access 4 we're not talking about.
Access we're not talking about. And then you come up to kind of a marquee location, access 5, 6, and 7, which is Little Recon Reserve.
Is that the preserve?
Yeah. And it's starting to become a very heavily used spot on summer Sunday.
I gotta go back, I keep saying to people, when I was 3 or 4, we were afraid of the ocean, and that's where all Montauk would go.
Well, I use it a lot. I live very close
The
to
water
it.
was warm, it was shallow, it was great for kids.
It is
That's where
great.
we all went.
It is great. I was there, John Behan uses it a lot. It's very accessible. A lot of local families use it, and it's a great spot. The challenge...
But yet it's controversial as well now because
Yes.
of
Well, that one,
people believing it's all of a sudden popular. It was always.
yeah, is that the Little Reed Pond
Yeah.
one? But that I think is controversial with a very small group of people. I mean, I think generally everybody loves that access. It's historical, it's always been there. And I think the only controversy was who was parking there. It was like RVs with no town stickers was the issue versus, I think what we did was we posted it, town resident parking. And I think that kind of made all the angry people calm down. But is that true? I mean, you live there. Is it still an issue, or?
I don't consider myself an angry person, so I didn't have to calm down, but I use it a lot.
No, not you, but I'm